How's it going, everybody? What's up? What's up? You already know who it is by the voices, or the voice, I guess, that you hear. This is Jahmai Webster. My man Julian McWilliams opposite me. What's up, Julian?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Solid, man. You sound tired like you just woke up, man. You straight?
Nah, bro. I'm good. I walk the dogs, everything. I'm straight.
Okay,
I'm good.
perfect. All
Got
right,
got a
so we're
good lunch
locked
in
in.
me. We
Oh,
locked
see,
in, bro.
I have yet to eat on this Monday, November 19th, as we bring you
See,
310 to left.
you always forget to eat, man. Jemai always forgets to eat. All the
True.
time at the stadium.
We could do a whole podcast on that one of these days, but
Yeah, bro.
uh,
Bring in Molly Burkhart.
hey, shout out to Molly, MLB.com, MLB bro. Nah, she's amazing. But we're going to be talking about eating as it relates to one of the top free agents on the market right now, Juan Soto. Going to get to that. Talk about maybe some Red Sox pitchers who they've discussed or had free agent conversations with, who they can potentially add, who we'd like to see added, and then some fun stuff as we get a chance to lay out our own personal rosters as we become our own GMs. We got Team Jahmai all time, and Team Julian all time for Major League Baseball rosters. You're going to hear some interesting picks from that, but I got the first pick. It's already been stated previously to taping this, so I'm happy about that. And I guess if I'm talking about first offseason picks for the Red Sox, it would be Juan Soto, who we have now seen reports and got it verified that the Red Sox had a 3 hour plus meeting with Juan Soto. Those in attendance, uh, Alex Cora, Tom Warner representing the front office there, as well as Craig Breslow, of course, Sam Kennedy also in attendance, with Scott Boras, Juan Soto's representation. So productive first meeting is what we've seen. Um, do we have anything more to add beyond that at this point? I mean, what are the likelihood? Do you think that the Red Sox will acquire them after having a great first meeting, which I feel like is always reported? I don't think anybody would be like it was a terrible meeting. I don't think we've ever seen that. But what do you think, Julian?
Yeah, I still think he ultimately ends up at one of the New York spots. I think that's either the Mets or the
Okay.
Yankees. But for me, and we can probably get into that a little bit later. I'm not sure if he's sort of the guy that you would want to give all that money to, right? If you're just, it's Juan Soto, but
Yes.
you do have Vlad Jr. I know he's not Juan Soto, like who's going to be a free agent, and probably in some regard makes more sense if we're talking about first base, whatever, third base, whatever position he plays, but obviously first base would be. And then he's a right-handed power bat that's going to be on the market next year. I think that probably makes a little bit more sense. But at the same time, if you have the chance to get Juan Soto, you get Juan Soto. But I don't think the Red Sox, I think he's probably a need for the Yankees and the Mets more so, if better fit per se than the actual Red Sox. But again, you got to, you have to check in, you have to do your due diligence, and if you have a chance to get him, you do.
I think it's very important to have that conversation. As you talked about, this would be the richest contract given out in franchise history. I think all numbers um, have shown to this point projections it's going to be in the $600 million range. So he's going to garner a lot of attention, and I love the story that your colleague, our friend Alex Spear, wrote about him when talking to multiple Major League Baseball executives about what precedents are there for Juan Soto, and it seems the consensus was Ted Williams, and that's the type of player that we're
Yeah.
talking about. Somebody who's dominated the box since he stepped on a Major League Baseball diamond. I mean, this is not a need for the Red Sox right now, as it relates to maybe some of the defensive needs that they were talking about
Mhm.
addressing. But this is a generational talent. This is a player who is going to change your lineup, and it could be for the Red Sox in recent history the best 1-2 punch. You tag him with Rafael Devers, and you're talking about Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz again. So I think that's attractive to not only Red Sox front office members but also to the fan base. So that's probably why um, this has garnered this much attention and this has built some traction, and the Red Sox have kind of emerged as a real player in perhaps acquiring his services. But to your point, I think maybe next year there could be some more options, like a Vlad Guerrero come free at the market.
And I'm not too sure that again, right? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying that you don't go after Juan Soto. I'm just thinking about fit. Just how he would, because some people are saying that he's almost now a DH, right? Like in terms of his profile. So do you want a DH that you're paying $700 million to, and when he's 31? But again, the Red Sox have been down this road that I'm talking about. So maybe I'm sort of of overthinking all the time and thinking about, well, what would it look like? Well, what it could look like now is a generational talent that you have at 26 years old to pair with the guy who hasn't had any protection in Rafael Devers. So
right.
I get what you're saying with that. I get what you're saying with that piece. And there's no guarantee that somebody like a Vlad Jr. even signs here, right? Like, he could enter the free agent market and end up with the Dodgers again, who somehow can, sort of, put his money out to where he's making better than 2054 or something like that, like Ohtani, but where he gets all those deferrals. But you never know. And I think you need to go after the best player on the market. And obviously he's the best player on the market. And the Red Sox initially have made their initial push.
I think they're going to I think he's going to want his money up front too. I don't think it's going to be a deferral situation.
It can't. I mean, somebody said Boris is old. He wants to get paid now. Like, right? Like, it's not like come on, man. Why is Boris going to defer money? And he's 70-some years old? Man, he needs that now. Yeah, especially a record contract.
Yeah, that's true. I think all sides, want to make sure that they get the best return. But certainly from that perspective, I can see it as well. But he has been over the last few years, I guess, or because of his defensive metrics, you're talking about people seeing him as, more of a designated hitter. I don't think he's a defensive liability out there. And if he was playing right field at Fenway Park, I think he'd be able to hold his own because, we've seen it, with the Yankees. And he made some good defensive plays during the playoffs. There was a few blunders as well, but I feel like, getting with this coaching staff, tightening up some things and working on some fundamentals, I feel like he's 25, 26 years old, right? So he's got the body, the athleticism to still be able to do that proficiently for the next 5, 6, 7 years before, maybe he loses a step or two. But I think if he gives you solid, average defense, you're going to take what he provides from an offensive perspective every single time. That's just what I think.
Yeah, I may have to fact check you on that, Jim. I don't know if has he played right field at Fenway? Did he? Or is he in left? Because I don't know. It's again.
Excuse me. Yeah, left field at Fenway. Yes,
okay,
that's what I meant.
Okay.
Left field at Fenway.
Okay.
He played right field at New York at Yankee Stadium. That's where I'm getting confused.
Right. So you can there's ways you can hide him. There's ways you can hide him at Fenway that will work out.
That's my point. That's my point.
Mm-hmm. There's ways you can hide him, but you didn't. Again, you had to figure out the right field situation, and you just have to figure that out because you got Juan Soto in left. So, you figure that out as you go. But I do think that you need to certainly make a real push. And again, if they don't get him, they don't get him. Fine. I think most people project him to end up back in New York in some realm, right? Be it in with the Mets or the Yankees. I think the Toronto Blue Jays are sort of. There's a lot going on with them. They have a lot of pending free agents. They have players that haven't performed well, that are really, really good players. Their manager situation is always interesting. So there's a lot of transitions. Their minor league system is sort of gutted. So you're just kind of looking at a situation there where you're just like, I don't know if it's good for him long term there. But look, with this Red Sox team, I think they're probably 2 or 3 pieces away from being a real contender. But it's just a matter of you have to go out and get those guys.
When you say contender, you mean World Series contender or a playoff contender?
Playoffs. Playoffs, yeah.
You think
They're a playoff team.
You think they're 3, 4 pieces away from being a playoff team?
Yeah, if you go out there and you trade for a Crotchet, right, and then
Crochet,
you
but yeah,
Crochet,
yeah,
my bad.
yeah, crochet.
If you trade for Crochet, you get a Freed, and then you get a Teoscar. Even that's an interesting team, right? And I
Yeah,
think that's an interesting team. Do I think it's a World Series team? No, but I think that's something that you could certainly build off of because now you have Crochet, Giolito, Freed, and we talked about this last week. Like you don't need that many pitchers in a playoff series, right? Like I mean, you just need your first three guys to be
yeah.
sort of
You got
those
to have three
solid
horses,
foundational guys.
right?
So I think they're a playoff team, and I think with this wild card, suddenly this wild card has become harder for them to make the playoffs, and it's an extra team, right? So they haven't made the playoffs since the wild card changed, but even before that. But now with the wild card, with the third wild card, I mean, anything can happen, right? You saw the Mets get hot toward the end of the season, and then carry that into the NLCS. Same thing with and then we see on the opposite end of the spectrum. I think you pointed out, Jahmai, a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks who win 93, 94 games and they don't make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a window for them to have some success in the American League because after looking at this year and even seeing like what the Yankees had to go against, it was kind of a light schedule. Whereas like the Dodgers went through, the Padres, which was a World Series team, in my opinion, I think. Had the Dodgers not won it, then they had to go through the Mets who were hot. And then, they took care of the Yankees in five. Whereas the Yankees just seemed like, they really didn't have any there was really no pressurized situations they seemed to be in their first two series in the way the Dodgers had it going for them. So I think there's a window in the American League for teams to build on this and to have success because I don't think there's any dominant team.
Man, I hate to be a student in your class if you're a professor because you're a hard grader. You talking about this team is 3, 4 pieces away from being a playoff contender. I thought they were a playoff team last year. They just ran out of gas at one point towards the end of the All-Star break. So
Ran out
I
of
think,
gas. They ran out of gas in August.
but that's what I'm saying.
That's every year. That's not a playoff team.
But considering the injuries, I think you're talking about the team that we saw in the year last year. You're not talking about a player like Garrett Whitlock coming back. You're not talking about a fully healthy, a fully
Their
able-bodied.
bullpen's a mess too. They got to go out and get like
Okay,
a Tanner Scott too.
okay,
Go ahead,
so
my
they're going to
bad, my
address
bad,
that.
my
But
bad.
3, 4 pieces away from being a playoff team, I think that's tough. I think with the few additions, if they go out and trade for Garrett Crochet, that can put them in the playoff picture. I mean, this team won 81 games last year. He's got to be good for maybe 10 more, right? Like you think about how many wins you can add to the roster and what it's going to be to make that third playoff, that wild card spot. If that is just the floor, then I think with an addition like that, top pitching, you can make yourself a playoff team. But I think if we're talking about adding a Juan Soto, adding a Crochet, adding maybe a Freed or a Blake Snell or one of those other top line free agent starters, that puts them in the World Series conversation. I think that. I mean, realistically, you laugh, but I'm
Okay,
serious.
yeah, no, I
I
know.
mean, I
I'm
think
just saying. I just saying. You're
all
Mister.
things equal,
You're
though. But see, you're gonna try to get that on me because I'm an eternal optimist. I know you're gonna try to say that and use that against me, and I'm seeing it with red colored glasses, I guess. But I'm telling you, you add those pieces, all things equal, everybody is healthy. I think they're a World Series contender. That's the thing. Not saying they're going to go out and win the World Series, but to be able to make the playoffs and contend with that roster that you put together that we just laid, I think that completely changes the complexion of this roster. I'm just saying. You hard on this team, and that's because they haven't done it. And I understand that. Haven't made the playoffs 3 out of the last 5 years, finishing in last place in the division. A lot of things working against them right now. But I think what we've seen, what we've read, some of the reports out, and how they're approaching the Juan Soto situation, how agents and reporters who are locked in to transactional things have said how the Red Sox seem to have a more aggressive approach this offseason. I think it's important to bring that context into play and then, think about some of the moves that they can possibly make. So I feel like this is going to be different. But again, yes, I am optimistic about, the potential of it. So with that said, the last point on Juan Soto, here it is, November 19th, as we pointed out. When do you think this deal gets done? I mean, we're approaching the holidays. Things kind of get quiet, but winter meetings are approaching as well. When do you think they finally decide, hey, I'm going to sign with XYZ team?
I think they said around the winter meetings. I think that's sort of the timeline that he's going to choose a team. I think that's sort of been at least in Boris's perspective. I think it's been something that's really happened with his players as of recent at winter meetings. Winter meetings often are a place where a lot doesn't happen now, right? But with Boris's biggest guys, I remember Strasburg signed at winter meetings. Rendon signed that year at winter meetings to those big contracts. Obviously, those didn't work out, but they got their money. Good for them. Garrett Cole signed with the Yankees at winter meetings. So Juan Soto is his biggest client, and I think that's where Boris likes to set the stage for his big kaboom. And I think it could happen there because Ohtani's happened there last year. And, Boris wants to be the show. And rightfully so. He's earned that with the players he has and sort of his track record. So I think it's going to happen in winter meetings. And I think it's going to be that's what everybody's going to be waiting for. That's what everybody's going to be looking for. And I think that's good for the sport, Jahmai. Like there's this sport, like if we look at like basketball and we look at the way in which they conduct free agency, and it's just that 4-day stretch, I think baseball needs to adopt a system similar to that. I know there's more now, there's probably more you have to go through. There's more players you have to account for, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not saying it be 4 days like basketball or 3 days. I'm saying
Right.
it shouldn't be 4 months.
Yes,
right? It should be maybe, I don't know, 4 weeks at most, something like that. And I think that's where you build up the entertainment in the sport, right? Because free agency in basketball, it's its own like sport, it's its own thing where people
right
are
around the
just
4th
like
of July.
glued to their phones, glued to the TV. Yo, where's LeBron signing? Yo, where's is John Morant gonna stick with Memphis? Like there's and you have this attraction to the players. It brings you closer to the player because if that player signs with your team, it was all this buildup around it. And so I think with baseball, they need to figure that out. That's another discussion. But yeah, I think it happens at winter meetings.
No, okay, yeah. The long-winded answer for getting quick to the point, but I completely understand what you're talking about. And I think it was 2023 offseason actually when guys like Jordan Montgomery went unsigned well into spring training.
Bro,
Same thing happened to Blake Snell. It was ridiculous. It's like these are
killed
some of
the
the top
sport.
line guys. Right.
It killed like Matt Chapman. Even our guy.
But-
I know he's playing pickleball now. JD.
Martinez, yeah.
Yeah, bro. He was sitting out, and he had just came off a season where he hit like 30 home runs, 30 plus
Dodgers,
home runs.
right.
So I mean, I think on both sides there's too much. Well, he doesn't do this. Well, you don't do that, and everybody's just trying to win the trade, win the transaction, more so than just saying like, hey, this is entertainment, and we have to figure out how to make this entertaining. The Ohtani thing was entertaining. Why? Because he got it done in December, and everybody was at winter meetings, and it was a talk of baseball. It was at the pinnacle of baseball. Even the Verdugo trade to the Yankees, right? It happened at winter meetings. Like that was a big thing, right? Because he was a part of that Mookie Betts trade. So we need to figure out a way to be able to just make this entertaining, man, because it's dead. It's dead. So but I think Juan Soto and a couple other guys, on the market, Blake Snell, obviously Max Fried. it's definitely an interesting offseason. I just hope it doesn't, get drawn out the way it did in years past, because that's just not good for the sport.
Yeah, we need the action. The NBA season is here, and the big question is, will the Celtics repeat and claim banner 19? You can find everything about the NBA and its culture on Nesson's basketball podcast, Hold My Banner, available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. Now, you mentioned some of those top-line free agent pitchers. Red Sox reportedly talking to Blake Snell and Max Fried, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan. Who do you think would be a better fit for the Red Sox? Max or Blake Snell? I know who I like, and we kind of talked about this previously before, and partly was because of what he did after coming back from the IL and certainly seemingly finding his quote-unquote sea legs. I'm talking about Blake Snell. I think that would be my preference if I'm talking about who the Red Sox should sign. Given what he did, his whiff rate, his strikeouts, his 2 Cy Youngs, he's got the hardware to go along with the dog that he is on the mound. I like Blake Snell. I mean, although Max Fried wouldn't be too far off, I do understand that. But if I'm talking about who'd be better fit, I think a nice left-handed starter with Blake Snell's attributes would be amazing for this rotation.
Yeah, I think who I think is more realistic, I probably would.
Well, no, that wasn't the question. Who's the better fit? Does realistic fall into that category?
No, it doesn't fall. You're right. I'm catting. I'm catting out. Hold on. I'm catting out responsibilities. No, I agree with you. I think Blake Snell would be a better fit, right? I think the whiff rate and Max Fried is amazing, but I think the Red Sox have been lacking that strikeout pitcher, and while Max Fried is solid. I mean, stellar pitcher. He doesn't his go-to necessarily isn't always a strikeout. So, but with Blake, you do get a little bit more walks at times. But again, he's shown himself to be able to get out of those jams and be able to limit damage. So I think I would have to go to Blake Snell as well.
Yeah, and you know what? He did actually start to neutralize the walk rate in that second half of last year. I was looking it up. He minimized his walk rate from 4.95 in 2023 down to 3.36 walks per 9 innings. Obviously highlighted his improved control and consistency and his effectiveness last year and what he was able to do. And as I talked about, 14 starts since coming off the IL, he went 5-0, 1.23 earned run average with a 38.1% strikeout percentage. I think he'd be the easy pick for me again. His familiarity with the AL East and facing these lineups and having to carve them up. And I just feel like over the years since he's left, he's gotten that much more better as a pitcher. So he was devastating back then. To now have improved and taken that up a notch, I think he would be my pick to join the Red Sox. If we had talk about preferences,
but I think again, go ahead. My bad.
No, I was just saying that was better fit. But is there a chance that the Red Sox get both? If not, what outcome do you think is most likely? None, both, one.
I think they get one. They should. I think the most realistic thing is for them to get one and then trade for the other.
See, this is your problem, Julian. Let me point out a flaw in you that I'm starting to realize. You're always talking about the realistic thing. I need you to dream big, my man. Think about what the possibilities could be. You're too real. You're too much.
You're the person who said. You're the person who said. Dream. You're the person who said they were a playoff team and they didn't make the playoffs.
That's because it's a new year.
You said. I thought they were. I thought they were a playoff. You said they were a playoff team last year, but they didn't make. I'm like, no, they weren't. They didn't make the playoffs. Well, considering injury, everybody has injuries.
No, I'm saying
the Dodgers have injuries.
Prior to the All-Star break, prior to going into the All-Star break, they were a playoff team.
Every year is going into the All-Star break, though. Okay, every year with this team is going into the All-Star break.
Okay,
look at their August. Look at their September. Every year,
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that it was bad, but I'm saying, and the previous question was, adding a piece like Juan Soto, would that, elevate them
Yeah, I
to
mean,
a playoff
it
team and
would.
then maybe even World Series contenders? Not saying they're going to go out and win the World Series, right?
But they haven't
Like
made the
going into
playoffs in
20.
4 of the last 5 years. Why would I?
That's
Why would I
true.
ever say that they're a playoff team? They're a World Series team now all of a sudden because they got 2 players. Just be a playoff team. I haven't covered one playoff run
I mean,
since
I
I got, because in
understand
21 my daughter was born and I wasn't there. 19 they didn't make it. 20 they definitely didn't make it. 21 they made it. 22 they didn't make it. 23 they didn't make it. 24 they didn't make it. So now you want me to say that they're a playoff team? I mean, a World Series team? I'm giving them playoffs. I thought that was enough.
I see how that has darkened and dampened your spirits. The lack of playoff, the lack of playoff exposure. I understand that completely, but I'm just saying, you add Juan Soto to this roster, getting healthy, getting Garrett Whitlock back, having your rotational pieces, Tanner Houck taking another step.
Garrett Whitlock's going to be okay.
He's right. So
I agree to disagree.
Okay, let's
I
put
think
him
he's
there.
a reliever. He's a reliever. He has to be, I think, at this point.
Okay, so let's put him in the bullpen then. He still shores that up, solidifies that. If he stays healthy, he solidifies that spot because of his abilities, right? He's already stepping into that role and going to be able to give you more than what you got last year, especially when you consider what happened in the second half of the season, how the bullpen completely collapsed. So that right there is a net positive towards getting back to the playoffs in my mind. So I'm just saying, again, you add Juan Soto, you add a Garrett Crochet, you add a Fried, or you add a Blake Snell. This team is now, in my mind, one of the top 5 teams in baseball. That's just me.
What do you do about the bullpen? Because Jansen's gone. Okay, you get Hendricks back. What's he going to be? Chris Martin's gone.
You don't know, but he probably gets the first crack at he probably gets the first crack at being your closer. You got Justin Slayton back there. Liam Hendricks.
Yeah.
He probably gets the first crack at being your closer. You got Justin Slayton, who can be your setup man. 8. He's got closer stuff. He's got the ability. He's got the stuff. But he'd probably be your setup man. You got Garrett Whitlock, who you're going to slot in there sometimes. Right? I'm talking about these guys are going to shut down games to lead you towards victories. You know what I mean?
Who are your lefties?
Well, let's take a look. Who else could be in there?
With high power stuff. Who's the Puck? Who's the AJ Puck there? Who's the Tanner Scott? They got to go out and get that.
You got to get that.
You have to go out and get that. So they're not 2-3 pieces away from being a contender. By this logic, they're not. Okay, they're probably like 5-6. By your logic, if their bullpen needs to be touched up
slightly,
they're just not too.
You need that lefty. You need that lefty in there. You need that elite lefty bullpen man. You definitely need that. They can grab that.
So
on the trademark.
I'll give you this.
Or as a free agent.
Going into the season, if they get 3 guys and then they add during the season or at the trade deadline and get, say, a reliever or whomever else,
which is possible,
they could. You can have your World Series hopes. I'm not going with it.
Contender meaning
what is that? But what does that mean?
To me, all right, I'll define it for you. To me, that means you're a playoff team, obviously. But when you get to the playoffs, you see the track to get to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you look at that on paper and you say, I think this team can get it done. And then you factor in the fact that they'd have Alex Cora as their manager leading the way, has a proven track record of being a postseason manager where he takes it up a notch. So you factor in all these things, and I just feel like this should be a better year than it has ever been in your tenure as being a beat writer and covering the Red Sox, especially over the last 6 years. That's just my expectation. Given what we've heard, and maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, I'll admit that. Maybe I am, but I'm believing in what they're telling me. I'm believing in what I'm reading. I'm believing in some of the proactive approach that they've taken into the offseason. So we'll see how it plays out.
You
We'll
believe a
see how it
lot.
plays out. Listen. We'll see how it
Hey,
plays
I
out.
know. I'm not. And look, I'm not opposed to saying that they could be a playoff team, but I can't put World Series implications on a team that's been out of the playoffs for the last 5 years. I just can't. I just would
Okay.
you
Well,
do the same thing if it were? Are you just saying that because it's the Red Sox?
no, I'm not.
So
I'm saying that
if it's a Mets, would you be saying that?
if the Mets were adding these pieces, the
If the
Mets were
Mets were
knocking on the
adding these,
doorstep. Yes, they're knocking on the
yeah,
doorstep. They'd be a World
yeah, yeah,
Series
yeah.
contender if they added a Juan Soto.
Yeah, but coming into the season, was anybody projecting them to win like that? No, I mean no, and they had a pretty good roster.
No. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm just saying, look at what let's take we're going off script here, but let's take an evaluation for what the American League was this past year. The road to get to to win the pennant. The teams that were in there. So who you're going to
Mm-hmm.
be let's project who you're going to be facing off against. Cleveland's going to be a contender again. You got to put them in there. I think the Yankees will be another playoff team again. The Orioles as well. Now you're adding the Red Sox into the mix. The Royals,
Texas,
I think they're
no,
going to probably be there. So there's going to be a lot of teams, right? But think about the pieces, and obviously, I'm projecting this as if nobody else has gotten better. The Yankees naturally would get worse if they lost Juan Soto. So
mm-hmm.
let's think about how it currently stands, those teams, and then think about what the Red Sox are adding. Putting them up against those rosters, I think again we're still thinking about Baltimore being good. We're still thinking about Cleveland being good.
Mm-hmm.
So those probably be your fiercest competitions to win the AL pennant. I just don't know. That's just my
Okay,
my
well, so
my projection.
maybe it's a competition thing, or like again, there's like I said earlier, I don't really think there's any dominant team necessarily in the American League like that per se, just
Right.
based off what I saw this year.
Which is another reason for me feeling optimistic about them adding and being able to get right to the top of the mountain right away. That's just me. All right, we'll leave it there, man. We'll see what happens because we got some other things to get to here on this episode of 310 to Left. You want to hear all about Boston sports? Check out Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast. Boston has entered the chat. You can enter the conversation by calling the Nesson hotline, 617-790-0928, or email the chat at Nesson.com. Boston has entered the chat. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. As Julian McWilliams clears his sinuses, let's move on to the topic of the day.
Hey
The third
man,
topic of the day.
you got a lot of subs today, man. You didn't even
MLB.
let me get my rebuttal. You didn't even let me get my rebuttal on Juan Soto. You just ended it. Say, all right, well, let's end it there. I'm going to the next one. You got the last
Yeah,
word
you
of
know why?
everything.
Because I really want to get to this because I'm curious about how you lay out the all Julian McWilliams team, and now we're gonna have Major League Baseball player draft of players that we've either watched in person or on television live during their playing careers. We should make that distinction during our lives. And there's no repeat players. So once you pick a player, I can't draft him, vice versa. We flipped it. We didn't have to flip a coin for who has the first pick because you already have given me the first pick, which we laid out here already prior to getting into this. So with my first pick, I'm going to take a left fielder, one Barry Lamar Bonds. That's going to be my left fielder on my all-time roster, man. So add Barry there. Obviously, this dude is the greatest to ever do it in my mind. He should be a Hall of Famer, but there's a certain cloud surrounding his playing career. But you look at what he did as a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates, put on a Hall of Fame resume. It's like Tom Brady. He has 2 Hall of Fame careers. You split his career in half. Both of them are Hall of Fame worthy. Barry did the same. He's the home run king. And I watched so many of his games. He obviously one of the reasons why I've been so attracted to the game of baseball because of the way he came about it and the way he did it. So Barry Bonds is my left fielder, man. Who's your
Watch
first pick?
They had Giants games on in LA.
Yes, dude. They did. They had or when they played the Dodgers, it was on local KCAL 9. It was on local TV. So
No, I'm saying
I see
where the home. You said you watch print. You say you watch all his games. So that was a local station.
Not all his games, but I watched a lot of his games when I went to the Bay Area to
Okay.
see my grandmother. when I went to visit my family up there, I watched Barry on the Giants broadcast.
Okay,
So,
I'll give you that.
I
I'll
mean,
give you that.
I've seen him play. He played national television games too, so I've seen him play. The point is, Barry Bonds is my first pick. So
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
hate me
Well,
because I think the greatest.
I'm going.
Who you
I'm
got?
going with another. I'm going with another guy who should be a Hall of Famer, Roger Clemens. I feel like,
Oh, he
uh,
goes pitcher.
yeah. I mean, you start with pitching, bro. You see, you building out a left fielder. You start with pitching.
Hey,
No, I think he's sort of been the guy that's. I mean, he's just a pitcher. I think for the longest time, and for on his Facebook, not his Facebook page, his Twitter page, he had pitcher, like that was it, just pitcher. So I'm going with the Rocket.
all right. All right. I guess, yeah, I'm not going pitching yet because there's so many pitchers out there who have been great over my time. I'm going with some more offense, the sweetest left hand swing in the game. Man in center field. He's not no balls. You see, it doesn't matter if I got pitching because I got great defense. I'm going with Ken Griffey Jr., the kid, in center field. Um, Another player who just, I mean, changed the game, changed baseball culturally as well with a signature shoe and made everybody want to be like Ken Griffey. So I'm going Ken Griffey Jr. as my center fielder.
I'm going Ricky Henderson as my left fielder.
Oh, see, that
Um,
was my. I'm not gonna hold you. That was my 1A. If you would have went Barry, I would have went Ricky. That's a good one.
yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm going Ricky, man. I got to go Ricky because elite athlete, one of the best players of all time. I mean, if you look at the metrics, stats, stolen bases, whatever, like any metric you put up against him, like it measures up to who he is, right? If it's analytical, whatever. I think Billy Bean said it a while ago. He's like, if Ricky played today, and this was when this guy was that guy. It was like 2018. He's like, if Ricky played today, he would be
Right.
Mike Trout. Like that's Mike Trout. So I'm going to go with Ricky Henderson.
Okay, I guess I could have went Mike Trout, but not over Griffey. So I mean, who's gonna be my right fielder? I might as well right fielder that I've seen. I might as well build out my outfield because I don't want any balls touching the ground. Um, I'm gonna go Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is gonna be my right fielder on my all July team. Obviously, Mookie. I mean, he's building himself a Hall of Fame resume even now as a now three-time
Already.
world champion. Oh, 100% already, man. I'm gonna just lay out the stats for you right here already. 3 world championships, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-time All-Star, 6-time Gold Glover, 6-time Silver Slugger. Mookie Betts is great, and I think in years down the line, 50, 40, 35 years, people are going to be looking at Mookie Betts being traded away from the Red Sox as like when Babe Ruth was traded away because of the career that he's going to put together. So I think Mookie Betts, I've seen him take over entire games from every aspect, defensively, offensively, stealing bases. I've seen him win games single handedly before, and he just continues to build on his resume. So he'd be my right fielder. That's my outfield right now. Now I'm a focused on some of my infield, and maybe I'll get to a pitcher. Who you got next?
All right, so you're long winded, so I'll just keep it going. No, but Mookie's moonwalking to the Hall of Fame. Good for him.
Yeah.
So I'm going Mike Trout. I got to go Mike Trout. Prime Mike Trout is Mike Trout, so I'm going Mike Trout.
Okay. All right. You go Mike Trout. Third base now. I'm going from left to right. I'm gonna go Chipper Jones, my third baseman. Chipper Jones, another Hall of Famer. Thank God for what was it? What was it on local TV where we saw all Braves games? Everybody
Yeah,
watched.
I saw them. I saw them too.
Yeah, so everybody was able to watch the Braves games playing. I think Chipper Jones is one of the greatest all time, and obviously his ability to do it both defensively and offensively kind of make him a perfect fit for this roster. So I got Chipper Jones as my third baseman.
All right, so I'm going Ichiro Suzuki as my
Ooh,
right fielder.
good
Ichiro.
one.
I mean, it speaks for itself. He's incredible.
Yeah, I mean 3,000 hits, and he got into the big leagues at 27, which is crazy. Um,
Yep.
that's another good pick. I like Ichiro there. First base. I'm gonna go first base. I'm gonna go Tristan Cotton. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man.
I was like, yeah.
Shout
I
out to
like,
my guy.
yo, dog,
No,
tripping.
I'm gonna go Frank Thomas, the big hurt man. Frank Thomas is my first baseman, even though I would consider Mo Vaughn there because the years that he put together with the Red Sox were crazy. But I like Frank. I like Frank. I like the big hurt as my first baseman, man. I just like dudes who are, you know, demonstrative out there on the field and big bodies and just great all around athletes. So I like Frank.
Okay, hold on. Um, so I see you're not really going for defense because he was DH kind of first.
Well, I mean, he's solid in there, man. But you
All
got to
right,
fill
bro.
out your
Go
infield
ahead,
as
go ahead, go
well.
ahead. Yeah. I gotta fill my. I'm going Jeter at shortstop. I gotta go him because I mean that dude just won. Like it was obviously my childhood growing up in New York, but it was just kind of like how people felt about like the Brady, like Tom Brady growing up, like kids in New England. That's
Yeah.
kind of how we felt about like Jeter growing up. It's like you just weren't winning for a long time, and he had obviously had a dominant run. So I got to go Jeter. I had to get him.
All right. All right. Nice pick there, Jeter, and that gives us 5 picks each at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You want the latest on the Patriots and the NFL? Drake May needs help, and we discuss how he can get it quick on Nesson's football podcast, Foxborough Rush, available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to all things Patriots on Foxborough Rush on Nesson. All right, so you went shortstop. I'm gonna go shortstop now. I maybe watched a game, a couple games, a few on national television during this particular time, but my shortstop, and because I'm older than you are, man, I got a little bit of years where I've seen a little bit more baseball, maybe. So this is kind of helping me
Uh huh.
because
Go
he
ahead.
played. He
Okay.
played when I was like 7, 8 years old still,
Uh huh.
um, and was still doing it at an elite level. So I'm gonna go with arguably the greatest shortstop to ever play, where this man's got the nickname the Wizard. You already know who I'm
Mm.
talking about, man. Ozzie
Mm-hmm.
Smith is my shortstop, and
Mm-hmm.
this guy, he made it look like his ballet out there. His feet, his hands, just his ability to get to balls, his range, it was unmatched. He played the position that players now they look to him as the gold standard. So Ozzie Smith, just great, man. Great smile too, man. He made it look fun.
All right. So I'm gonna go third base this time. I'm gonna go Adrian Beltre. I think
Wow.
it speaks for itself. I mean,
Yeah,
bad man. Bad man. I
that's a
think
good
I'm a little
one.
bit too right-handed heavy though. I got to figure
Yeah,
that
you
out.
are, man. You got to switch it up a little bit. You definitely are,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I got Ichiro. I got Ichiro out there. I'm gotta get it. I gotta go. Got to get find somebody else.
And I can't. I mean, this is my seventh pick. If this is a fantasy football roster, we're putting together, which we are for baseball. I mean, people would call this a steal, but this is a 2-man league between Julian and myself. And I'm gonna give my designated hitter to the greatest designated hitter of all time, the most clutch hitter in the game, who I'm surprised you haven't come with yet. But you already know who it is, man. Go ahead and drop it, Ante, for us, David Americo Ortiz, man. That's my designated hitter.
Hmm. Okay. Um. Hmm. Dang. And you got Frank Thomas.
I
And you
mean,
got
Frank is playing
Bond.
first though. But yeah, I mean, yes, I like slug. I like slug. I like
Hey,
balls that leave the ballpark.
you're loading up, dude.
Yeah,
You
but hey,
taking it away
listen.
from me.
this,
All right. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
this is
I gotta. I
strategic.
gotta go catch. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go catcher. I'm gonna go.
Oh, don't say it.
Uh. Uh. I need a left-handed bat. I need a left-handed bat. I'm gonna go
Don't say it.
Joe
I think
Mauer.
we're thinking. Okay, okay, all right, okay, Joe. That's a great pick. And I thought, see, and when you hear my catcher, you hear why I'm gonna say you don't say it because obviously you covered baseball in the Bay Area for a long time. You were privy to these to seeing
Oh,
these guys
Supposy.
play. on an everyday basis. Buster Posey is my catcher. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this dude was incredible. Watched him in college and then in the pros, and he was like, I mean, to give a correlation or kind of an assessment to what we're seeing now, the way that Adley Rutschman kind of just slotted into the Major League Baseball pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
This was Buster Posey before that, and obviously he elevated the position. They had rule changes. You can't run into the catcher because of how he got hurt. Changed the game, and they wanted to make it safer because you want guys like that to be on the field to be able to play. So Buster Posey is my catcher, and that's
All
my
right, so
position, man. So,
I have. So second base, you didn't do second base yet. Second base, I got Roberto Alomar. That's my guy. I was gonna go Pedroia, but I was like, dang, I gotta go Roberto Alomar because I need that. And then I think did you finish? Are you finished? You gotta go pitcher. I can't hear you.
I got pitcher, second base, and I got to get my skipper in there too, my manager. So still a few more picks.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
So you got Roberto Alomar?
I got Roberto Alomar second.
Elite.
I don't have first base yet. I got to get first base, and then I got to get a DH.
All right. No, while you're doing that,
no, I got a DH. So I got I have it right here because you have first base already, right?
No,
I'm going.
Oh yeah, I do. Sorry, I don't have a pitcher or a second baseman or a manager. So you need to get a first baseman, a DH, and a manager.
I'm going Pujols. Okay.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you already picked Roberto Alomar. So going back to me now. So man, I'm having a hard time with second base. So I'm gonna get my pitcher now. And maybe. And I mean, I've seen some greats, man, over the years pitching. I mean, Garrett Cole is up there too as one of the greats. Just his stuff.
Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't.
Hold on. I'm talking about his stuff, man. It's crazy.
I'm just saying I should have picked somebody else as my pitcher. I don't know why I didn't pick this guy.
Who's that? Because I must be about to pick him right now.
No, I needed Pedro, man.
That's who I'm picking. Pedro Martinez. He's my pitcher. I got to win one game. I'm going with Pedro in his prime. This dude is incredible, man. And,
hey, bro, you're. I gotta get your roster's a wash of mine. I'm gonna go on Pujols at first base, and then and whomever else at DH, you won, bro. You got it. Edgar Martinez.
Hey, I already know I did, man. You know what?
Edgar Martinez.
But I got to pick my second baseman, guy that I've watched, and you know, there's a Hall of Fame argument for him. You know, if he didn't get injured, if he continued to play, but just like seeming to have a vacuum in his glove. This guy wasn't the most athletic, but just again, we're talking about players that we've watched either on TV or in person, and I think he's played some of the most sure-handed second base, especially given what we've seen from the Red Sox second base over the last several years. Has been a carousel. So many people have gotten an opportunity to see several different players pick it. I'm going to go with a guy who probably won't make it into the Hall of Fame because of those latter years that were riddled with injury, but he was on his way, man, on his way to the Hall of Fame, and one of the greatest that I've seen play the position in a long time. That's Dustin Pedroia. He'd be my second baseman.
It's a good roster. It's a great roster.
Solid,
Dustin Pedroia, that's kind of like similar like to a Jeter type where this is like ultimate competitor, and you just like when you're on the field with him, like you just felt like they were gonna win.
Yes, so 100%, man. Yeah. So who's your DH?
Edgar Martinez. I done gave up,
solid.
Bro. Well, no, honestly, I mean, after you said Pedro, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what's going through my head today. Maybe I am asleep, like you said. Maybe you called it out early. Maybe I am asleep.
You're just waking up, man. You're just waking up, I guess.
I won't get with you on that playoff contender versus World Series contender thing.
So we can agree to disagree on that. I'll take this victory for sure. And since you took Edgar Martinez as your designated hitter, I only have to fill out my manager. I mean, my roster, I can manage this roster. That's how good it is. It really doesn't matter who I pick, but I'm gonna pick somebody
The
who's
roster is the
near and dear.
roster.
Yeah, hey, we are who our record says we are. The great and late great Denny Green. But I'm gonna pick somebody who I grew up watching. You know, when I first was introduced to the game of baseball, he's a Hall of Fame manager, and he was a staple in my community growing up in Los Angeles. And he passed away a couple years ago. But just when I think of baseball managers having personality, being able to, you know, relate to players even in his older age, and the years that he put together, and he just was a personality, man. I'm gonna go Tommy Lasorda managing my team, the All Jahmai team. Who do you got, man? Who's your skip?
I mean, similar to you, somebody that was a fixture in our community and fixture in my childhood was Joe Torre. So I got to go Joe Torre.
Okay, now if I had to pick a bench coach here, I pick Dusty Baker just to put him on my roster because love Dusty. That's a little extra for the
Well,
folks
why are
out
we
there.
doing bench coaches? Why are we doing that?
I mean,
Come
I'm
on,
just
man.
saying.
Stop that out. You didn't pick Dusty. You just didn't pick Dusty. Just deal with it.
Hey,
Dusty's a grown man.
hey,
He can take it. You
hey!
ain't
Shout
pick
out
him.
Dusty
You
Baker. I'm
think
just
Tommy
saying.
Lasorda's better than Dusty Baker. That's what you're saying.
I mean,
Stand
listen.
on that. Stand
This
10
was the
tones down, dog.
hey,
Come
hey,
on.
listen.
Stand on
Hey,
business.
listen. With the exception of Petey
Man,
and
talk about
Chipper
a bench coach.
and Buster, I was picking the all water for chocolate team for a minute, but you know, I love my roster, man. So listen, let's do a recap of our
Oh,
team.
shoot.
And now that I have the roster fill out, so Pedro's my ace. Frank Thomas let's go right to left. Frank Thomas at first, Petey at second. Ozzie Smith is my shortstop. Chipper Jones is my outfielder. Going right to left in the outfield, Mookie Betts, King Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, Buster Posey catching Pedro, and then Tommy Lasorda managing. And Julian, your pitcher is Roger Clemens. His battery mate is Joe Mauer. Going left to right, Beltre, Jeter, Alomar, Pujols, Ichiro on right, Mike Trout, and Ricky Henderson. Your manager is Joe Torre, man. So we actually want to get your feedback on this, folks. I mean, I know what it's going to look like, but
And
who
I
do you
got
think
Joe
will win?
Mauer behind the plate.
Yeah, who do you think will win? Oh yeah, Joe Mauer behind the plate. That's right. If we put these guys together in a match, it'd be interesting. A 7-game series, my roster versus yours. But good stuff, man. That was fun. Certainly enjoyed it. And I'll give you the last word, man.
Oh, now I got the last word?
That's what I'm saying. You've been playing this whole time. You got
Hey,
about
man.
25 seconds.
Hey, I'm so excited to do this. I'm so excited that I'm having a boy soon. In May.
Congratulations, man. That's
I mean,
right. Your
excuse me,
wife is
April. Into
pregnant.
April.
Your wife is
Yeah, bro.
pregnant,
The
man.
second one,
You're
2
having
and
another
through,
child,
bro.
man. Listen,
2
we're
and through. I
breaking
got my
news on
baby
3
boy.
to the left. This is amazing.
Breaking news. Breaking
Hey,
news.
Julian, man, he planted his seed, man. It's going to be a junior.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, shout out to you,
Boy and
man.
a girl.
Congratulations on that. That's major, man. That's major, man. Congratulations. And we'll leave it with that, man, on 310 the left. Thanks so much for listening to us. Jahmai Webster, Boston Globe, Red Sox beat writer Julian McWilliams here today. You see him on the street. Congratulate this man. His second child on the way. So we appreciate that. Thanks for watching. This offseason has been fun. And we'll check in with you guys a little bit later. So talk soon. Peace.